And we are back with the final match of the day. It is going to be a rematch between these two Zerg players, one of them spawning in the bottom left corner of Overgrowth, representing Root Gaming. It is Hydra.
And his opponent across the map, representing My Insanity. In the red, it is Sacsri. And I've been wondering if his name means anything.
Yeah, I bet it does. It has to, right?
It's a weird name. Like, let's not beat around the bush here. It is a strange sounding name. I keep falling over myself when pronouncing it. And I've been saying it right, but I keep thinking I'm not. And already he is shaking things up in the most confusing of ways, because every single game Sacsri has cheesed Hydra.
Yeah.
In the previous series, he cheesed twice, it failed twice.
Yep.
And now he's going hatch first.
Yeah, and I like it, because we see Hydra has dropped down... Did he drop down the hatchery and then an earlier pool once more in order to try to maybe counteract that? Or he might have actually gone for the hatch first himself. I believe he did go for the hatch first as well. So it's not like he's thinking, all right, this guy's cheesed me a couple of times, it's time to play it super duper safe. But no, he held it both times, so he feels no reason why to change his ways. And that's exactly what he's doing. So, here we go.
I'm thinking about it. I kind of like this in general, I think, as you said, but it does mean that Hydra, for the first time, is not in a situation where he is the reactive player, and he might be making some of his own decisions. So we get to see how he plays in that situation. And maybe in the time, the downtime, Sacsri kind of had a look over the replays and went, okay, I've got a bit of time to check out what happened in the previous series. What should I be doing? What should I be doing to take this guy apart? And I'm quite interested to see what he has cooked up in that time. I think it could be something special, or it could just be playing dead straight and see if that throws Hydra off enough to get the win.
Yeah. I mean, he could just be refreshing and saying, hey, it's a new series, it's a new day, let's play it out like it's the first one, and just kind of sticking true to what he knows and is comfortable with, and that's exactly what he's doing. He did put down the pool a little bit earlier, I believe, just for that safety. So it's not like he went for the greediest build possible. And he's also going for gasless, later gas rather, than Sacsri did. Sacsri did the more standard hatch gas pool at the earlier time, while Hydra delayed his gas for a little bit, but not really by too much.
Yeah, actually continuing to delay it, now banking up to 150. And I'm waiting to see what that might be for. Because that's, like, normally you see people throw down speed. Speed is the standard kind of style to open with, to get just defensive speed, if anything. And unless we're seeing something like a Roach Warren following this up, and a big Roach push hitting about 730, maybe that Evo Chamber's going down. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Right into Lair as well. And he's going to skip Ling speed and go right into Roaches, it looks like. By dropping that Evo Chamber. So the super defensive play with the Spine Crawler and the extra Queen means that, the fact that he dropped down the Evo Chamber makes me think that it will be Roach, and the fact that he dropped down the Roach Warren actually makes me think that it is going to be Roach here. So he did go ahead and do that, but look what Sacsri is doing. He's getting his Lair as well. Hasn't dropped down Evo or Roach Warren, and if he gets his next gas, which he does, I think we're going to just see straight up, Ling Bling opener into Mutalisks. And,
we saw Sacsri go for meters before on this map, and it didn't work out for him. And we saw Hydra go for the Roaches, and whilst it was a close game, he did end up winning out in the end with Roaches, with a little bit of Swarm Host, with a massed Queen style. And to see a rematch of that game would be extremely interesting to me.
Yeah. I mean, that game, and it actually started out weird. Because it stabilized, and then it kind of went into that. But this is pretty much this straight up, Roach macro style of play into maybe a third and then playing it out. While Sacsri is doing like what we used to see in early Heart of the Swarm, with that really fast layer, getting the Bailing Nest for safety in case Hydra did decide to go for some kind of crazy Ling Bling attack. But no, it's just going to pan out with two builds that are fairly uninterrupted. And we'll see how it does turn out,
Yeah, I'm just watching to see that exactly. Nidus follow-up from Hydra.
Whoa.
That is unusual, but I like it. I like it a lot already. Going for that Nidus, it has strengths and weaknesses in this matchup. I mean, it's quite easy for a Zerg player to see a building Nidus when they have the kind of Overlord spread that you often see at these levels. But on the other hand, it's really good to be able to pull your opponent apart. Although right now, slightly bigger problems for Hydra, losing all of his queens out the front to this Link Flood.
And he wants these queens out so bad. You look at the way that Sacsri is targeting each one of the queens individually, and this is going to make this Roach Nidus not as effective, but it still can work. You know, the mutas are going to clean it up eventually, but they have, you know, the Roaches are going to bypass that travel time. Coming. And it is going up right in the main. Oh boy, how many queens are on the map here for Hydra? Because he was constantly producing them. And there it goes left. This is it. That battle cry of the Nidus.
Everyone's blood freezes when they hear that noise. It's just, oh god, things bad, things bad. Yeah. And things are looking pretty bad. A lot of drones being killed off straight away for Sacsri, dropping in that worker supply immediately. And the Roaches getting at the top of the ramp are going to stop the Lings really getting in, forming a nice shape against those. Attacking the main, attacking in the natural. The Mute is going to be pressed to deal with this.
Yeah, Sacsri is losing so much right now. Hydra's getting that damage out. There's not enough mutas to really deal with these Roaches effectively, but they will eventually do it. But at what cost is the question we ask. How many drones have gone down? 16 workers already killed. Sacsri is only down 28 drones, and Hydra already has his third up. So he can fall back in this if he does need to, but he's just going for it, man. Another Nidus at the third. This is not looking good for Sacsri at the moment.
There's a Nidus to the third, there's a Nidus in the main as well, and that Nidus in the main, I think, might just be pulling out a few units that are going to run in there, and they're going to try and snipe out that lair, which is on pretty low health as it is.
Yeah, it's actually very low. The queens are actually going to be there to do it. This isn't enough queens to deal with the mutas, but, you know, the fact that Hydra is continuing to make units means he wants to continue this and end the game right now. It's actually dropping down to a 18 drone count. Whoa, this is not looking good. I don't know. Is there enough mutas here to clean this up before the amount of critical damage is done?
I'm not sure. The Roaches are, I think, going to... Yep, the Roaches are going to pick off the lair. The mutas should be able to clean it up if they don't escape through that Nidus. But I think they're just going to run down the ramp.
Yep, and get as many drone kills as possible. Have we seen any Spore Crawlers go down? No Spore Crawlers have been made yet. So Hydra is taking his sweet time to get that defense up, because he's going to have to defend against this muta counterattack. Remember, he lost all of those queens, although he did make a few queens back, but sorry about that. We'll see, though, how much damage his mutas can do.
It sounded like you just catapulted your phone across the room.
Pretty much.
Okay, these mutas are pushing across the map, killing off a bunch of overlords, not quite supply blocking Hydra, who has pre-made a few in preparation for this exact situation. The queens are not going to be able to chase away the mutas, and the spores, there is one in the third. He's made them, he's got them done in time. This is excellent.
Yep. The army value for Sacsri is incredible at the moment. It's going to be up to these queens in the static defense in order to deal with these mutas, because if those Spore Crawlers go down, the mutas will reign supreme, and that's exactly what Sacsri realizes as well as he gets around with all of those Lings. Oh, so much damage being done here. And the counter pressure is actually working out for Sacsri.
It really is. He's losing so many workers of his own. I mean, Hydra's still got a decent amount and more Spore Crawlers being made, but there's actually nothing that can contest these mutas at this point in time. Just a couple of queens that might be able to hold. I mean, they should be able to hold in the natural eventually, but even so, the mutas are looking so dominant.
Yeah. And behind the still nothing but units here from Sacsri. He is fully in it. He is committed to end the game as well. And he may be able to here. But, oh, there's a lot of damage being done. Hydra
that Roach Warren is on 13 health.
Yeah.
But he could just go in and kill it, but it's not happening.
Nope. And I feel like he did have an opportunity to try to just snipe that Spore Crawler, but he didn't want to take the risk of losing all of his mutas. But this, nothing but queens coming out of here from Hydra, as that's the only thing that he can really make effectively, because remember, he did skip on that Zergling speed. But this is the final battle, most likely. If they, well, not the final battle, but the Spore Crawlers are still...
Sacsri's pretty good at weighing things up. The spores are being taken out by the Lings, but more are being made, and like if the Roaches keep on being pumped out, mind you, with the Roach Warren gone down, I don't know.
Yeah. They can't make any. It's on nothing but queens, but they keep getting killed before they get enough energy.
Yeah. I don't even want to call this game especially. Like, they've both done so much damage to each other at this point, but Hydra has the kind of the stronger economy at this point, so it makes sense to favor him. He just can't challenge this Mutaforce, so it's possible that it could still go in the way of Hydra or Sacsri, but Hydra's keeping the counter pressure on really nicely, and that's it.
That's it. Wow, Hydra taking game number 1 with a little bit of an interesting build of his own.
Alrighty, folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're still up at this kind of time, it is time for what could potentially be the last game of the night, the last game of this series, and the last game that the player spawning in the bottom right would like on his trip to the round of 16. His name is Hydra, and he represents Root Gaming.
And this player, who needs to play it like it's his last game ever, because he is 1 game away from elimination and denial into the round of 16. It is My Insanity's Sacsri.
And it's been like, I feel like Sacsri's had a harder night of things than I really thought he would, because I've seen him play before, and he's a very, very good Zerg. But Hydra's turned up and just kind of gone, oh, did you want that round of 16 spot? Well, that's a shame.
My bad. I didn't know you wanted it, because I kind of do as well.
Yeah, it's an issue. You know, Rain's taken one of them, and there's only one left. So I guess I'm just going to have to take that round of 16 spot.
Yep.
Will
it be the double My Insanity finish is the question, right? It's going to be an uphill battle here for Sacsri. He just hasn't been able to crack Hydra at all, in all aspects here. Trying multiple things and just never really getting the upper hand, or that last, just always is so close too whenever it goes to, past the 5-minute mark. But it seems like Hydra is pretty resilient and has a few tricks of his own up his sleeve.
I'm just wondering about that. I'm kind of checking out the situation, and I'm thinking, what would I do if I was Sacsri? I mean, you're probably a Zerg. I mean, you are a Zerg, definitely. So it makes sense for you to think about, what would you do if you were Sacsri? What would you be doing if you'd lost 3 games against the same guy?
I don't know his comfort level in straight-up macro ZVZ here. We've seen that Hydra really does show preference to the Roach style. And we haven't seen... I don't even think we've seen Sacsri drop a Roach War in all series.
No.
Because I'm trying to think. He didn't against Desra, I don't think. Did it even go to that point?
I don't think so. The second game,
their Ling run by. Maybe he dropped it, but... No, he didn't. He dropped the Hydra, then went Hydra Ling, and then... so he hasn't dropped a Roach War in all day. Maybe he just does not believe in a thing called Roach, Some people just don't.
Maybe he just hates Roaches. That's the only answer.
But I would... personally, would... go for that Roach battle and see how I can go against Hydra. Maybe he feels that he can't take him in that matchup as well. Because remember, you look at Hydra and you don't see him too often, but he is a player that did play in Pro League. He's used to be on CJ Entis. It's not like he's just some random dude that Root found on the Stro. Okay, well, there's some Lings coming out of nowhere. Shoop de whoop. Should have seen that coming.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. I was like...
They've been running across the map, but they are coming. And they're going to get a bunch of Queens. They're just a huge Ling attack sprinting into the natural, actually killing off a ton of drones already.
Yeah, this is actually really crazy. Hydra's been joining up like Madman, going for this double Evo into Roach style, and he just doesn't have enough just yet. But will the Spinecrawler be the savior? The Queen is helping as well.
I don't know. The reinforcement wave of Sacsri is going to be required. Neither player has a Baneling nest so far, so they aren't going to... No Baneling nest. So there's not going to be any of that swinging it one way or another. Sacsri lost a lot of units to the kind of unit production of Hydra, and that is going to prove challenging, I think. He's going to need to keep making them.
But it's not the end of the world unless these Lings do overpower those of Sacsri. Will the reinforcements be enough?
I think they might just make it. Killing off a few there, now going to chase back across the map. A little bit of an overextension perhaps for Sacsri, but he gets away with it, pulling back, and you're going to see the reinforcement wave coming out of him, even perhaps trying and shove back across the map. But Roaches are already in production for Hydra, and those are going to be very helpful in repelling the Zerglings.
Yep, but there is no Spine Crawler. Banelings are also being added to Sacsri's arsenal, and the Roaches don't have any upgrades. Remember, the Evil Chambers were cancelled. The Lair isn't done, so it's not like they can do some big attack across with Roach Speed, but it's going to be up to this hole. There should be some Banelings being made just to bust on through. Remember, in little numbers, Banelings can be pretty effective against Roaches, especially if they're able to just break this wall. This is really the thing that Sacsri has to break, because in this position, Roaches in a wall with Queen support, it is pretty good. And the Evil Chambers are done. It's not that many Roaches.
No, there aren't. And
it
is so critical that they're lacking that upgrade. The Banes are going to do their thing. How many Roaches will be left alive? Oh, the split actually permits some units through, and immediately Baneling straight into the mineral line. A bunch of drones going down, and more to follow. This is exactly what Sacsri wanted. Oh,
exactly what he needed. So many Lings are flooding in, and I think it's too much. I think Sacsri is going to be able to turn this around, and GG!
Yes!
Oh, my insanity, Sacsri saying, I am not dead. I still don't believe in a thing called Roach, but I don't need to. All right, we are back, folks, with potentially the last game, unless it's a draw, which I don't think will be the case. I'm not going to jinx it, though. But spawning in the top right, representing my insanity, he is the Blue Zerg, rising from the grave, Sacsri.
And his opponent in the 10 o'clock spawn, now with his tournament career on the line. He's in the red, he's representing Root Gaming, his name is Hydra.
We're seeing a little bit of a flip-flop here, as Hydra is going for the earlier gas, while Sacsri is delaying his gas just a little bit, but not really by that much. Usually, I think I remember we saw Hydra being the one that would take that little bit later gas, but not today.
No, he has been going for the later gas in general, but this time, a bit of a switcheroo. Might be seeing Hydra going for some kind of aggressive style, because so far he's been passive in the early game every single time, preferring to get those Roaches out that he seems to love so much, getting those Roaches very quickly, and comparatively Sacsri going, no Roaches for you, and repeatedly going for either early game timings or playing passively and going for quick Mutalisks.
Yeah, I feel like Sacsri prefers that type of style of ZVZ, where it gets to that very scrappy stage, and then you have that game sense of realizing if you're ahead or not, and then playing it from there while your opponent may not be so comfortable in that situation. He likes to mix things up in the early game, and then play it out from there, as opposed to Hydra, who seems to have more calculated builds that are more Roach-based. And then, the calculated, we saw the Roach +1 attack with speed, we saw the Roach Nidus, these type of things that are passive in the early game, but are calculated to do something in that early/mid game.
Oh, I don't believe it.
Not today.
No way. Look what Sacsri's building.
I don't know. I'm not believing it.
You're gonna deny it.
I'm gonna deny it.
No, he's not.
If I don't look at it, it didn't exist. It could be on the production tab, but that doesn't mean that it's real.
No, we'll have to see. It might just be for safety, but it's possibly not. And Sacsri, it's possible.
This is a aggressive style. It's a very early Roach Warren with speed as well, and they both seem to be doing about the same thing. And I think we are going to see Roaches coming out here, especially with these Overlords coming out. I feel like it is going to be a very aggressive Roachling attack. Some would call it a Roachling all-in, because you do skip out on the lair and just try to kill your opponent with it. But the fact is, they're both doing the same thing. This is usually good to catch your opponent off guard. Someone that's trying to play a little bit more macro-oriented.
And I'm just thinking that maybe these guys are going to meet in the middle. They're just going to run into each other. And the last thing Hydra's got to be expecting, the last thing, is for Sacsri to go Roaches.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything. I think if Sacsri went for Swarm Host drops, that would be slightly more predictable than this.
Yeah, you are not right. And then now the Overlords of Hydra are going to see these Roaches and Lings heading across. But Hydra has a bunch of Roaches of his own. We are looking at Hydra with the Defender's advantage, and he has more Roaches as well.
Yeah.
Just not as many Lings, but Roaches do reign supreme in this type of battles.
Well, they don't have the upgrades yet. The upgrades, the +1 attack is so critical for Roaches because it allows them to 2-shot rather than 3-shot Zerglings. So this is a good time for Sacsri to be attacking. But at the same time, with the defender's advantage heavily favoring Hydra, with the unit count heavily favoring Hydra, we're already starting to see Sacsri going, I knew I shouldn't have made them, and moving back across the map, starting to build, even building a spine crawler. He feels that threatened that he's building static defense.
Yep, because he is droning behind this. Ooh, gonna get some good value out of these Lings. Usually you would not get that value out. Sick counterattack here from Sacsri, but where are the Roaches of Hydra? They had just moved out onto the map. And now, Hydra, see Sacsri doing that kind of scrappy style, forcing Hydra to react while he sets up his own stuff at home. And that is beautiful, just getting use out of those Lings.
Yeah, he's been so good at this all the way through, running around, trying to make sure that every time he makes a unit, if it doesn't have an immediate use, he waits and he strikes when the time is right and just sticks that kind of Ling crowbar into his opponent's, the chink in his opponent's defenses, leaves it open and goes, it is time for me to kill like 5 drones with these Lings and make all your Roaches go home, buying me time to have enough units to deal with it.
Yeah, and he is very afraid of the counterattack as he does drop another spine crawler, and he's also foregone his his lair is on the way now, but he made those Roaches before he made the lair and made the spine crawler to make sure that he was 100% safe in case Hydra decided to just rally units across the map and try to end the game. But no, we're going to be jumping into the mid-game, folks. Oh my goodness, whoa. We're going to go into a Roach versus Roach. And it's kind of surprising to me to say this because anytime you think of ZVZ, would you not have thought, well guys, it's going to be Roach versus Roach and anything else would be a little bit more surprising. This is the most surprising thing that we've seen all day.
Exactly. I mean, we've expected cheese from like the first series, but this is both players going into relatively macro play. Sacsri using Roaches. It's not the game I thought we were going to see.
Nope. So looking at the status of the game, though, the +1 of Hydra is miles ahead of that of Sacsri's. However, the drone count is even, I believe, 41 to 43, 2 in the favor of Sacsri. Both are on 4 gases actually. Sacsri is on. So Hydra maybe going for that third, as he does. Yep, he does drop the third. They both do, so yeah, we're going to a very, very standard ZVZ at the moment. And then the thing about ZVZ that I've really grown to like is the mixing of styles, even though you do use Roaches. I do love when players utilize the burrow tactics, or seeing a player go for the Roach Bane style. And, we've seen Roach versus Roach, and Zerg players have kind of had this opportunity to diversify it at least just a little bit, or because you can see the Roach Burrow style or the Roach Bane style, or even Roach Hydra, which you don't see as much, I feel like, but
yeah, I like it though. I really like Roach Hydra. Not so much in ZVZ anymore, but I just think it's a cool style. It has a lot of interesting dynamics to it just because of the way it works. And the ideal Roach Hydra composition for a Zerg is where you have enough Hydras to kill all of their Roaches before all of your Roaches are dead.
Yeah.
And that number is very hard to work out. Yep.
Well, let's see here. Hydra has the better army supply, and he's just pumping Roaches out. Sacsri is going to be hitting with a +1 and Roach speed timing, but Hydra is already in position. He has the units, he has the spread, and I don't think that Sacsri shouldn't take this engagement. He'll find out that very shortly.
No, that is a scary army to be fighting, and the Roaches of Sacsri immediately kind of going, it's time to get out of here, I think. Running back across the map, sprint their way, and being chased off pretty effectively by the slightly larger army of Hydra there.
Yeah, they're making nothing but units at the moment, just using that third for the larva. And +2/+1 is on the way here for Sacsri. His upgrades are going to be a little bit behind, but he will have +1 armor around the time that the +2 of Hydra finishes. But he has a spine crawler at his third. He's set up very defensively. And neither of the players have really found that comfort level to drone. Because if you start droning up and you're not careful, you are going to get in quite a bad position. But look at that, a really cool contamination on the upgrade of Hydra. So that +2 is, the +1 armor is going to finish a little bit ahead of that +2 attack. And that just makes his +2 attack on par with that of Hydra's.
Yeah, it's just a little bit annoying. It is an irritating thing to do, is contaminate. And I like that that's what he's choosing to go for.
Yeah. Especially because he was behind in the upgrade. He can't know how far ahead or behind he is, but
no. All we know right now is that Sacsri has an upgrade advantage and a superior engagement, it looks like. Pushing into all of those roach forces of Hydra, getting this around. There's even a spine crawler firing. And with that wraparound, it's going to be extremely hard for Hydra to actually get those forces out. With the
that was a very
advantage.
weird timing from Hydra to attack there. Seconds before his +2 finished. And then just attacking into that great position by Sacsri with the spine crawler. I think Hydra just threw this game at this point where he did not need to attack.
Oh my god, he actually did.
Oh no!
I cannot believe